Welcome back to Branding Momentum Podcast. Today's episode is some real talk because there is so much I need to say. And because there's so much, I've made this into a two-part episode. So get ready, grab your favorite drink, and if you're driving, just keep on listening. This is part one of being invisible on social media is not an option to make money. Hit it. Hey, I'm Veronica DiPolo. You are about to experience the new way to become the visible entrepreneur, to thrive in your business and in your life, and standing up for what you want to create. With the help of my Branding Momentum podcast, you'll discover what mindset shifts you have to take to have the visible mindset, build the unique messaging to communicate with your potential audience. Get ready because here is where we say no to outdated society norms and we say yes to change. Welcome to the Branding Momentum podcast. Okay, I know there we have new listeners in the audience that probably haven't heard me use the word invisible or the visible entrepreneur. So, what does actually visibility really mean for you as a business owner and entrepreneur, right? And especially if you want to be able to sell your services on social media, like how you should be presenting yourself on social so that you ultimately get more leads to sales. Well, the difference between invisible versus entrepreneurs is that invisible entrepreneurs focus on making money, and successful invisible entrepreneurs focus on building a machine that makes them money. So, what does actually visible mean? So, the visible entrepreneur is the business owner that is aware of its surroundings, that they don't overthink or self-sabotage what they did wrong in the past. And actually, they have learned to separate what their personal preferences to what their actually business actually really needs from them. And they're not afraid to learn new skills and test new things. And they don't overthink or self-sabotage what they did wrong in the past. Actually, they have learned to separate what's their personal preference to what their business actually does need from them. And they're not afraid to learn new skills and test new things if actually that will get them more leads, more sales, and improve the lives of their clients, their team, and themselves, right? So in their present, like the current day, like right now, it is so important today because they want to make sure that every decision that they're making is gonna be come to life and how they want to see it because they're planning for it and they have clear actions that they want to be taking to get to where they want to go. And they're very committed and consistent as to having a clear messaging as to how they want to be perceived on social media. And they are very respectful of the future because as things move along, they will be able to adapt and change to make that future what they actually want, right? So listen, anything that you want will require willingness, time, and money. But many people out there, and I'm not saying that it's going to be you, they want a lot of things for nothing. They want, convenience and they want leads and they want more money and they want sales, but they're not willing to give anything in exchange. Oh, it's too much work. I don't want to do the work. I'm tired. Or I don't want to test. I want it solved. I have better things to do than, be on social media. But in all the years of having my business, everything I want to get requires something from me. And it's going to come down to one of those: willingness or money. If you don't have the money, you don't have to spend the money. Then you better get ready and willing to put in the willingness or the effort. And what is beautiful about that is that when you're starting to make that money and you use that money and you go and you make more into what you already have, it's always like this is a this for that, right? So my whole entire world revolves around you stepping into the shoes of the visible entrepreneur. And this is exactly with who I identify with. And that is who I serve. And it is my job to actually get you there. And yes, most people don't talk about saying, I'm a visible entrepreneur, but I put it out there for you to catch. Right? What's interesting is that most of the people that I work with are doing things differently from most, which is the way that they're running their businesses and their marketing instead of, the business actually running them and their lives. And they have the vision, they have the metrics, they know where they need to be and they know where they need to focus on. They don't waste, their time on low value activities like, I don't know, becoming the IT fixer upper. And what it actually never stops a visible entrepreneur is to learn. And most believe in self development. They have, maybe a coach or a mentor, and they're constantly, searching for trainings and programs to help them be better business owners and empower the people that they're working with for who they're working for. They have a personal intuition as to what their clients really need and want, because one of the biggest secrets about marketing, my friends, is listening. And they listen to what their audience wants on social media, what their clients told them when they were, they were signing up, and like they heard what they said, the excitement when they know why they're working together. But many people only focus on themselves and on their needs with things like, what do I want to be known for? Like, what can give me money? What do I want to create? What's going to make me sound smarter? And somewhere, there's probably someone suffering saying, help me, right? And we're so focused on what we want that we don't listen to what our audience is saying or they actually want, right? And let me tell you this story. This happened 2 days ago, okay? Just before I recorded this episode. And a good friend of mine got a little bit upset with me. And the story goes like this. He's going through a moment in his life, right? He doesn't know what he wants to do with his life, like literally. He doesn't know. He's always been an actor, and acting jobs for people his age are very hard to find. He's in the early 50s. So he doesn't get many auditions. And when he does, and he knows that they love him, his roles are given to younger guys, right? And this has been going on for a while. And he's unfortunately have come up to the conclusion that he needs to find a job or something or start a business. And in the past, he tried so many different businesses that, ended up failing because it wasn't actually his thing, not his expertise. And maybe, someone told him like, oh, there's sell this or do that. And he did it and then he lost. And, it's a learning curve, but still they didn't end up, making him money or what he actually wanted. Have a side business, right? And he's also a painter and a cartoonist. That is actually his hobby, and he's trying to explore something from that. And I must say, I love his cartoons. They're quite witty, but he doesn't actually appreciate his own work. But with luck, he's been managing to sell his paintings. Right? Okay, besides that, he's applied to a few jobs that he doesn't, that are not his expertise. The kind of jobs that require for you to have experience when you're, trying to apply for these jobs into these companies. And 2 days ago, he got a job offer to be a salesperson. The typical kind of salesperson say, hello, yes, how, yes, how can I sell you, blah, blah, blah. And well, he didn't like it. He said, that's actually not for me. Then I'm going to start my own business. And I said, whatever business you start, you cannot be like before. You cannot do it like before. You need to start a business that you are passionate about and that you know about it, right? You need to not overthink it. It is super simple. And he said to me, if it was that simple, I wouldn't be in this problem. Neither me nor so many people I know. What I like to do, people don't pay me for that. And then I told him, don't look at it from the point of view of that, what people are paying rather than, the perspective as to what do people need. And I even went further in a joking kind of way, trying to get him to, to loosen up and trying to, realize this on his own is that think about it. You have so many followers on Instagram. Besides, the obvious questions that people actually are constantly asking you, like money or sex, what else does your audience want from you? And this is where he got upset. He thought I was insulting him, which I actually wasn't. I was trying to make a point. And I know for a fact that people do write him constantly for those two things on his Instagram because he's always telling me about it. And I was simply using that analogy and that, example to get him to think about the people that follow him. But what really got him upset the most was that I told him that his problem was simple, which I actually never said it was, which I never did, I told him not to overthink. And overthinking is not simple. It's pretty hard and complicated. And when he realized very quickly that he was overreacting to what I was saying, and he immediately apologized because he realized he was venting with me with his dirty laundry. And what a simple chat conversation, turned out to be a shit show in a matter of seconds because of what he read. And obviously, I did apologize for not explaining myself better to avoid the confusion. That is sometimes when I actually do hate texting because you can't hear the other person's, expressions and their tone of voice. And you put tones into the text messages and, oh, Lord. But the truth is that our beliefs on subjects are our ego, our perspective, our repetitive thoughts are the ones that don't allow us to move forward. And that was actually my message to my friend. Sometimes we gotta do things that we don't love. There's so many things that I've learned to understand and appreciate, and that doesn't mean that I need to do them if it's not required in my job. I have choices, right? The only way I got into social media world is because I understood two things. Number one, it's free. It's super free. So I would have to be an idiot if I didn't get on it, right? And number two, my business needs to be promoted. Therefore, I need to be there. So even if I don't like it, I need to make triple effort to be present. Because if I don't change people's lives to be visible and successful and get better at marketing and messaging and make money, then how are my potential clients going to find me? If I'm not in the place where everybody else is. And believe me when I tell you, I can be very controversial with things like this because if I know that many people are doing something, I go the opposite way. trying to keep my uniqueness intact, myself. I want to be my own kind of person. And yes, I've caved a few times with this because it's proven that the easy way to get what I want them or what I need is to go where everybody else is going. Like, I mean, I hate planes, but I know that that's the way of transportation, That's the way if I want to go and see family and friends and stuff, I got to do what everybody else is doing, even if I don't like to. I'm not going to do it on a boat. No way. No way. I'm not a people follower nor a people pleaser. And that last one, actually, the people pleaser, took me a long time to get over that one in my life. And I know I'm talking from my point of view, but I bet some of you listening are feeling what I'm saying and you are still not convinced. And I know you're still not convinced. My job is not to convince you. My job is for you to realize that on your own by showing you actually that remaining in the shadows, not deciding to do anything. And I don't mean social media, not deciding to do anything. No change means losing money, losing time, losing opportunities, chances. And yes, this is your choice. It's always been your choice. Always been your choice. So, are you willing to move for your business or remain the same? That is the question of today. Okay, guys, I see you in part number 2 of being invisible on social media is not an option to make money next week. Same time, same place. Bye-bye.